Good morning, everybody. So I'm starting today with the CTF regional banks. It's a lot of things that were underperforming were sitting on the edge there, whether it would drop off into this void below. And we were looking for potentially this expansion and breadth, which happened in a big way last week. So how long will it continue? Of course, none of us really know, but we look at the charts to see what they suggest. And this weekly chart is a wide range bar. And you probably look, you can probably know when I pointed this out, and we'll take a look at it on the S&P. Wide range bars ending, wide range bars igniting. And this is an interesting one because it's in reality, I don't think it's neither. Because it's still within in a trading range. It didn't start from the bottom. It didn't go up very much. You don't have multiple bars moving up, similar to here. And so this was a wide range bar. You would think ending, even though it's much bigger than these, and down here, a wide range bar igniting. And here we've got this wide range bar ignited from the middle of the trading range. So what to expect from here? Well, seeing it's at resistance and looking at the daily chart gapping up as it did multiple days, I would expect a little pullback, a sideways consolidation, and our expectations are always just based on historical price data. It's really not our personal opinions. With a bar like this, some sideways consolidation, some pullback, and pullback to where? Kind of hard to say on this time frame. Looking at the daily chart, you can see the cursor. I think it could be that gap fill, give or take. In any event, some type of consolidation, correction. I don't think it's going to be any kind of a blow off from here, anyway. With the weakness that we've seen in the leaders, and so the laggards, regional banks, small caps, biotechs, all playing catch up, and having moved up as they have, I think expecting some type of corrective price action makes sense. In addition, we did get the alignment of breadth and sentiment at extremes, telling us, be careful, always being careful, but a greater amount of risk for longs. I do like the way this moved up. And if we look at the day to day, I think is on this chart here. Here, you can see here, advancers minus decliners getting above plus 1,500, almost tagged 2,000. So that's a positive to see that, what situation like this, looking at back at these regional banks, and we'll take a look at the Russell as we always do. But getting that kind of breadth number on a move like that is positive. Now, how much things correct, we'll just have to see how that unfolds. But historically, we know when these two internal gauges are aligned, it's going to maybe take a few days, could take a week, but some kind of correction will unfold. And it's a point where we say accidents begin to happen, meaning breakout failures, even buy setups begin to fail. So keep that in mind. One of the things, I can't find one at the moment. I'm going to have to scroll back, but time limiting. Just as a point of education, is that when you do have breath down at this level, when it goes from here to here within a day or two, that is historically a buy, even though it gets to an extreme. And most of the time, the sentiment won't be up where it is. But just keep in mind, if you have this breadth internal, if it goes from the bottom to the top, and this, no, it's not inverted. This one's inverted. That suggests the beginning of a move, whereas this is suggesting the end. And we saw that big reversal day on Thursday. Right. Others, you see the Russell here, which had that explosive move off of the bottom of the range and taking out the top, closed above this area. And similarly to the regionals, give or take in the middle of the range and an explosive move up into resistance. So some type of corrective price action here. Things get a little ahead of themselves. And where are they at here? Actually gapping up to the top of that topping tail. It was above it. And now some more profit taking coming in, which makes sense. Unfilled gap, mark it off, set an alert. The Dow, let's see where the diamonds are. We don't get much pre-market data, but that pushed up. New all-time closing high. It backed off at the end of the day on Friday. You can see here where it was up there and all of a sudden just began to collapse, but gapping up here this morning back up to the top of Friday's range. And we'll see how it reacts to that. Mid caps join the party. So again, the expansion and breadth was everywhere. So the broad based, and now that they've had this explosive move, and again, some of these from near or close to the bottom of the range, it's positive even after this run. Well, this has been going sideways, chopping around for several months. So what it does here up at the top of the range, whether it's the Dow, whether it's the Russell, what is the reaction to that resistance? A bullish reaction would be a shallow pullback, a sideways consolidation, a break below some lows and coming back up again. Apply bar by bar analysis. It'll be evident to you as it occurs. And the leader SMHs, let me get rid of some of my art here. We were talking about momentum moves here and measuring those momentum moves or divergences. So Thursday was the big sell day. It gapped up and gapping up a little bit. And a lot of the stronger, what was stronger, and then got hit like that, they're just trading within this range here. So, not a big deal as to that strength this morning. The only real, well, not only real strength, what I saw, and everybody knows what happened over the weekend. But look at Trump media up here, skyrocketing up to the top of this trading range. So even though this has this explosive move off of the low based on what we all know happened, it's up at a resistance area and likely the stall. And you can see it backing off here pre-market, but a monster move to the upside there. Right. Look at the futures, inside the range, not a big deal. Here we were talking about wide range bars, ending moves. That's why these arrows are there showing, little corrections after that. And what we're getting now is a little correction. So far sideways. This was a surprising negation of that big red bar here in the S&Ps as that breadth expanded in financials, small caps to some extent, biotechs. This negated that bar, and so far just trading sideways. So the strength here this morning, really not a big deal, since it's just trading within a range, and potentially you can get chopped up in this until it gets resolved one way or another, especially with the weaker ones up at the top of the trading range. It will suggest that the upside is limited in addition to the internals. This is still at the bottom of the trading range. And as always, we apply the factory work and get that line, mark off. Doesn't have to be, why isn't that working? Doesn't have to be exact. We don't have to measure it. Just eyeball the middle of the big wide range bar. And as long as it continues to close here, it signals continued weakness. Now it's in an uptrend. And anytime you get a wide range bar, you're going to have a void. And as you can see here on the intraday chart, the way that came down It's popped up and now it's just trading in the middle of the range. So kind of a coin toss as to which way it's going to go. And you got opposing forces of a big, nasty red bar after a new high against an uptrend. So again, brings us to more or less an indecisive conclusion as to let's wait and see to get more information as to what's going to unfold here. The Dow up at the top of the range. Wait and see what it's going to do. The Russell had that explosive move up at the top of the range. Bitcoin joined the party a little bit up 5,000, but within this, well, let's move it to a sideways trend. We'll see where this ends, but so far the depth of the retracement on the daily chart, and it's just correcting, continuing to correct here. Erratic. Gold is up at the top of the trading range. Had to move up. And silver up at resistance. Crude oil not doing much of anything here this morning, chopping back and forth after a move up. Resistance not too far, but I got my alerts up above here, down below here, see which way things might go. And spiders gapping up here within the range, same as the futures. So again, we will probably sit on our hands a little bit at the beginning of the day to see which way markets want to go. SPX now with that move up, that top premium is way up there. Things are, well, again, we got another situation where pre-market, where prices are relative to these strikes, it's kind of in the middle. Which way is it going to go? Most days it's been going nowhere. There was one day last week where it hit the top there before backing off. Let's see if it moved. Probably hasn't moved much. 58. Oh, 60, 58. Actually came down quite a bit. Well, not quite a bit, but 75. And yeah, tightening up. So the sideways consolidation, things are tightening up a little bit. In the middle of nowhere, within striking distance of either. A tough call, just based on where those other markets are that were stronger up at resistance. I'm thinking the upside is limited, but it's not that far away. And we'll let things trade for a little bit and we'll see which way things go. Interest rates are up a bit this morning, really not a big deal after that big drop, which helped ignite many things. This drop in interest rates. And take a look. Let me just, easier for me to flip over to a different layout. The big drop in the 13-week. So if you look at that site, it's the CME site, I forget. Anyway, there's the site where it gives the probability of a rate cut. And now it's above 90% for September. So there's an extremely strong belief that they're going to cut in September. And whatever the beliefs are, we always look for supporting information. We go to the charts and I see this 13-week dropping down as it has, and that supports that belief. So if the charts believe it, I believe it. The 10-year, inching its way down toward this level as that economic data came out last week, lowering inflation. We already looked at some of these. Let me go back here. So some others to keep an eye on. The energy is trying to bottom out. You can see down there on the 200, got a pivot. These bars look like they're equal. No, they're not equal. So one of them is one below the other. as this day starts trading, we'll get this software will mark this as another pivot, and you can see kind of the we don't get hung up on exactness, but like a head and shoulders bottom there, resistance up there. So it continues to improve. Keep an eye on those energy stocks. Um, there's other. I mean, the breadth was so broad based, and the turnaround um, was surprising. Another wide range bar. This was ready to fall off the cliff, and it came all the way back. And then other things that led, like software had that big move up at resistance, and internet had that move and up at resistance as well. So I think that's the theme as we go into things are unfolding. And we have to mention the financials there that you're up at resistance, and all of these financials banks that are going to be reporting earnings. Some are out already, and they haven't done too much. It's a start, Alex. Alex asked me the yield curve steepening. So as I go back there, this platform doesn't show yield for the 2 year. Where here? And the improvement really hasn't been that significant, but there has been. So, the shorter term coming down, this came down a little bit, but it's still a long way. Look, the yield curve hasn't led us down the right path in quite a while, meaning the inversion of this yield curve, being how it's been for as long as it has, and no economic data supporting a recession, which this has been really the only piece of statistical information over decades that have led toward a recession. So it hasn't happened. I think a lot of what's been skewed was because of the liquidity injected into the system by Corona, and that has messed things up. So now that things are improving, I don't see it as being a positive, maybe not a negative, but things have been so skewed. I think we need to see more information as for drawing any conclusions as to what that means. Right now, the majority of information says buy, except for these internals, which says wait for some corrective pullback or sideways consolidation. And what to buy? The things that have underperformed. Well, all yours, Dan.
Good morning. Yeah, so see what we got for trading opportunities. As of Friday, I didn't have a good bias because we're extended, but we had big topping tails. And Alex just gave me this stock, Brum, saying Goldman is giving it an upgrade. And it's a good pattern, it's good timing. I told you I like it's just, coincidence or not, I like when analysts upgrades, downgrades are confirmed with the charts instead of, this thing falling from here to here. Now you're giving it a downgrade. It's like, really? So it looks higher, daily, weekly. It's up here, gapping up a huge percent though. So that's going to mess it up. Raul on YouTube, that's going about mid short. That's fine. It's just slowly churning lower. So it's relative weakness. And I like always having alarms or strong and weak stocks, even if I'm not trading with the broader market bias, because not all stocks participate. Our earnings here, BlackRock. Wow, for that, the $800 stock to be down only 71 cents is pretty darn flat. Goldman's all-time highs, been on a tear. No pattern though. Well, I noticed all these solar stocks falling. This is a bear flag. Target this breakout 205, so it still has room to fall. Let's put that here. Fizzler has room. Couple alarms going off. SMCI. We gave in the weekend letter for put spread, but this gap up is gonna mess it up. Being added to the S&P 100 and kicking out old Boots. It's an appropriate name. Boots is getting the boot. But yeah, this thing is horrible. You know, this is a good example for, yeah, I agree on the political sell-off. Yeah, I mean, like Trump stock is up. You know, that assassination attempt is sad. I wouldn't wish that on either party. And then then you get further discuss some friggin' clowns on Facebook. Oh, the guy shouldn't have missed. You know, that's so sad how wicked people are. But this is a good example of, Greg saying, look, there's a bias of the market's always going up. Because look at this dog is dragging down the S&P 100. So give him the boot. Put a performer in there instead to hold his share. TSM, but yeah, with DJT, rocking and rolling. You know what, Alex? It's not taking sides at all. Whatever. I'll try to avoid that. But I was walking at the time, and my neighbor, he says, "Oh, did you hear Trump got shot? This and that." I said, "Yeah, I heard some other guy yelling it down the street too, but he's not the sharpest cat in our building." And he says, "You know what, Dan? I was going to vote for Biden, but now I'm not." And so I think there's a lot of popularity here now, which, as you said, is hurting solar stocks because there's a growing and growing chance or perception that Biden's going to lose. All right, TSM, I think guided up again, power up trend, but no pattern for me. Low G. I was working on the trade review this morning. I just did it on this lazy boy. This is a great chart if you understand it. Had a big old pro gap breakout, deep retracement, buy setup, failed buy setup, wide range bar breakout, 1, 2, 3, price void, and boom. That was a great setup right there. Nothing to do now though. Other alarms going off here. Block looks fantastic. We are in this already. And the ETF letter right on this day. See that? 6-4. That's when we bought it. That's when we bought it. Breakout. 2 red bars ignored. Gap reversal. Bottoming tail. Last Wednesday's MT live right there. No follow through to that breakdown. Gap reversal. 4 red bars ignored. 180 closing breakout. So I posted on our Facebook page, people could add to this, but we're in it, so the gap is good. But if you had this, on your ad list, the gap is messing it up. I also gave Mara as a put spread. My up alarm went off. We'll try to sell the 1918s. I doubt we're going to get filled now because that's also a big percentage gap. It's 10% gap. Uber, my up alarm went off, but now it's coming in, so let me just reset it. That's not like a textbook one, but that's a 1, 2, 3 following a breakdown failure. So we have that as a put spread over the high. What other alarms going off here? Tallow. Tallow. The entry was really Thursday, but I call this a continuation. This pattern suggests it should go through this and then move up to the next area, which should be about right there. My alarm went off, but I don't see any prints. So I'll just have to keep an eye on him. Now I had an Amazon alarm go off. It's a bear 1, 2, 3 in an uptrend. So I would never short this. But the idea was I want some bear call credit spreads if the market is going to continue to retrace. And that's relative weakness today. It's not participating with the market gap up. Qs. I think I forget if I gave a call spread on this or not, if there was juice. I forget. But it's a pattern. This is weaker than the spiders, which have been kind of going neck and neck the last couple of weeks. So, I call this a minor 1, 2, 3, but again, I have an uptrend. Gapping up here. So I'm going to set an alarm 495.25. So I like getting them early. No, I do not have a call spread on this one. So that tells me there was not enough premium. But I want to know if this starts weakening. 495.25. SMHs. Also 1, 2, 3. So that I like as a call spread under those lows. And those are all my alarms going off. So let's just now continue with a watch list. Oh, Pfizer, I kind of like here. It's up 4 bars, so ideally it'll pull in and give us a higher low. But look at the weekly monthly. Hey, welcome back, Tom. Look at weekly monthly. Alex, what pattern is this weekly? Sloppy one, but it is. Inverse head and shoulders. Exactly. Look, you can't get too anal. Oh, well, he's not inverse because look, this shoulder's a little higher. Whatever. It's a downside shakeout, deep retracement, and bullish price action with a void. The monthly is still in a downtrend, but it's been going pretty much, sideways here for 6 months. So all daily, weekly, monthly are in alignment for, looking for a long entry. Greg mentioned PGR in his video. But Greg earnings tomorrow. I didn't notice that. Man, that bell will wake you up. So A and F low alarm. I have this as a possible call spread watch. Zulu Sierra alarm. I gave that as a put spread, I believe. Sometimes I just forget. I know I just forget what letter I put it in unless I look. All right, so AD line gapping down to 677 from Friday's very bullish levels of 1500. That positive tick. VIX actually gapped up. And yields gapped up. Yeah, look at that. Yields gapped up. SPX going sideways, but up from Friday. I'm in no hurry to do anything here. PV, and we have very light inventory. We were selling a ton of stuff into strength Thursday and Friday. Our PVH alarm. Yeah, Zulu Sierra 195.65. Spreads on Zulu Sierra. Shoot. We can't trade this. Spreads are absolutely ridiculous. So I'm gonna cancel Zulu Sierra put spread. Amazon. Amazon was under 193.83. So Amazon's triggering is a call spread 200 205. $47, so it's not there yet. They actually had a remarkable number of low amount of alarms going off. Yeah, looks higher. Yeah, sure does. Trade's a little wild with all those overlapping bars. Here, look at this Fizzler I mentioned, but it's fallen too much. Why do I have ABR? Oh, I had ABR in this bottom right. Alex showed me this thing tanked. Um, I'll set an alarm at 13 if it gets above there. Could set up a day trade. But then it would be extended if it got to 13. That's actually percent wise a big move. But I'll set it, we'll worry about it later. All right, tallow did gap over high. But you know what? Now that I look at the weekly, let's cancel tallow. It's just I don't it's just not juicy enough. Let's see, block. All right, block also we have to cancel excessive gap. I we're in it in the ETF, but I gave it to the ETF to the advisory also, just to let them have a nice trade. But I hate when you have a beautiful trade and then the get messes it up. Your plans. That's a fizzler. I'm not doing anything, but here, let me put block here. We'll watch it pull back. When I was scanning on airlines, look at JetBlue ripped Thursday and Friday. I did not see that. So, airlines It's block is doing nothing. It's actually a Climo and Goldman all-time highs, but I'm not chasing. This Trump euphoria, if not crazy about 4 DTE, but you know me on excessive gaps. My bias is just to fade once I get a setup. So let's see what the wowzer, Greg. This is like a GME. The $80 calls are 80 cents for Friday. What do you think? I guess it's not there. Yes. And it can give it just, one-to-one stop. That's a default. Yay, nay. Yeah, it's already down to 71. At 80, that was a good price. All right, it's PVH. We shortened. Yeah, we shorted it Friday's low.